Welcome to Canada's podcast.
Hi, this is Cynthia Lockery with Canada's podcast, where we talk to entrepreneurs who are making it happen right here in BC. Today, I'm excited because normally we talk to one entrepreneur about their journey, but today it's special because we're talking about a couplepreneur. Isabelle Mercier and Margarita Romano are no-nonsense couplepreneurs, born to catapult heart-centered entrepreneurs and businesses to build impactful brands, businesses, and lives. So welcome to Canada's podcast. This is really exciting to hear about your journey together. So why don't we start by you telling us a bit about yourselves and your current business?
Well, we have been in business for 30 years, and as a couple for about 31 years. So
we pretty much immediately got into business. No, we met in university,
Yeah.
And then as soon as we were out of university, we were basically in business.
there has to be some sort of award for this, but being a couple, a same-sex couple nonetheless.
Yeah.
Being in business and growing, basically, we grew up together. We've been longer together than alive apart. This is how long we've been together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Kind of funny when you say it that way.
It's kind of funny when you say it that way. And we have a business called Leap Zone Strategies, where we help entrepreneurs, teams, and thought leaders really build fantastic lives and businesses and brands. And we have a retreat center in the News Bay on Vancouver Island.
Mhm.
That we work with. Margarita here works with horses, and she's got an equine team at Trailblazers, where we help entrepreneurs get rid of the shadows that are, we always say it, outcome overcome.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. She helps with the outcome. I help with the overcome of things and, the invisible stuff that's in our way.
I love that because I know both of you, and that's exactly what you do.
Yes. Yeah. And most people don't know that we're basically a branding agency, a marketing agency, and a business coaching agency all under one roof. Because some people know us as business coaches, some know us as brand builders, some know us as strategists, but it's the variety of what we do in a very organized fashion that makes us so different from other companies.
Oh, it's amazing how you've grown that together. So what inspired you to grow a business together? You do have entrepreneur couples who have their own businesses,
Right?
Yeah.
which is pretty normal, but what inspired you in the beginning, but also to keep going?
Ooh, two very different
questions.
Yeah.
Oh, getting started. We work extremely well together.
Yeah.
And we have skills that are similar in certain ways and very complementary in other ways. Between the two of us, we're an ecosystem of talent and mastery. And I don't mean that in Isabelle and Margarita are all that in a bag of chips. I just mean just our raw talent and mastery that we've acquired, obviously, and worked on over years. It's very complementary and very aligned. And so working together has been a treat, and also a bit of a pain in the ass.
But when I think back to the beginning, I have to say that I think Isabelle drove the idea. Like Isabelle, well, actually, both our parents have had their own businesses.
Yes.
Isabelle has the true entrepreneur spirit. Like, she's not hireable, really. Even if she's easy to hire because she's so talented. But then when she gets in there, she just knows how it should go. So she'll take over, and right.
And by non-hireable, she means in a job. That's not.
Sorry, thought that was obvious. Maybe not. Yeah. So when I go back 30 years, I think you were the one to bring the idea of a company to the table.
Yeah, because I thought, I come from a long line of entrepreneurs. So in my business, in my life and in my family, it is about business. It's about having your own, it's about marching to your own drum beat, And for me, I had a couple of jobs in my youth, and I knew fairly quickly that it wasn't for me because I would bring innovations and freshness and new ideas to the table that people weren't ready to implement. And I was always told, it takes money to implement these things. I'm like, well, yeah, but it also brings in money, right? We wouldn't implement this if it wasn't to bring in money. And the last job that I had, beautiful. I brought a lot of beautiful ideas to the table, and they said, you're too innovative for us. And that gave me the kick in the pants that I needed to just get started. And where we are today is eons from what I was suggesting them or what I was even proposing, eons further. So, it turned out pretty good after all.
It did.
And I can see that because you're both so creative in your individuality that would a best place for you is to be leading.
And staying in business, you were saying, staying in business, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, well, we have a TED Talk about what are some of the 3 things that we do constantly to actually spark our relationship, keep our relationship, personal relationship strong, but also our business relationship strong. So we talk about three ingredients in there: being brave together, flowing together, and growing together. And, if you want to hear more about what we share in there, that's actually pivotal to any relationship, whether it be a couplepreneur or not.
Mm-hmm.
We invite you, of course, to watch our TED Talk. It's actually also quite funny. So
it's a good TED Talk. So what are you most proud of in terms of what you've accomplished so far?
I'm most proud of how we have continued over the years to honor each other in, as you get older, life evolves, you evolve as a person, and your desires, where you want to be in life change. And we've managed to honor that in each other as individuals while staying together, not as only in a marriage, but in a business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that particularly because of the horse piece to the business, which is always something that people are like, you're a branding company, but wait, what? There's horses?
And meaning we had to change our lives dramatically a few times in our career and in our lives together to honor each other's strengths and desires. And so there's times where Margarita aligned with where I was going and we made it a whole. And this particular last time, I aligned with where Margarita wanted to go and bring the business, and we made a whole of it, an entirety of it, of course, with Trailblazers here. And I have to say, I always thought when I was younger, traveling and going to other people's businesses, I would have made it. I will make it when. And now people travel from all over the world to come and spend time with us at Trailblazers. And I have to say, that feels it's better for them because we take them out of their natural habitat. Therefore, there's bigger, better transformation, more lasting transformation. But also, I think I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of what we've created together in terms of business, but in terms of also the Trailblazers portion, which is our retreat center on the island, the personal elevation, the money elevation, the business elevation that we needed to do together to make this happen is something to be proud of for sure.
Now, if someone's listening and they're looking at this journey with their partner, is there any advice that you'd give for somebody just starting fresh that, hindsight for you looking back?
A couple of things for sure. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, sure.
When you're in a business together and you're in a relationship together, there's a lot of triggers. There's a lot of personal baggage that is easy to get in the mix when it shouldn't really. If you were to have a conversation with an employee versus your partner, it's a very different conversation. And navigating, leaving the triggers and leaving you're my wife or husband or partner at the door when having a business conversation actually really does help. And it's a hell of a lot harder done than said. It's easy to say, but it's a lot harder to actually do it.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, it's be persistent.
Oh,
Like really, really put yourself out there. It took me a long time to really put myself out there. You know, when we first started our business, it was a little bit more like this. So I was
hiding behind me.
not doing my doing, right? And I was just, you know, I was the support role. I was the back end. I was the person that people didn't hear about. And it took me a while to go, actually, you know, I do have a place alongside her. I don't have to be behind her.
And I think that if I was to add an option, a key ingredient here, whether you're in business with your partner or not, one thing that we do constantly, regularly, consistently is to take at the 8th week period. So every year, there's many 8th weeks in a year. Every 8th week in the year is a week where we only work on our business. No business, no client meetings, nothing for the client, just for Leap Zone. Of course, we also have a half a day per week that we work on Leap Zone, but it's important because, you know, you can't help others if you've got squeaky wheels, and we all have squeaky wheels. And so taking the time, you know, really treating yourself as a business owner, as your very best paying client is going to pay dividends. And we treat Leap Zone like a paying client. And
we always have.
We always have.
Like even when we had our first business, which was solely a creative agency, we had production boards at the time. That's how it functioned. Actual whiteboards.
It's called Trello. But yeah.
And there was always a line or more for Leap Zone.
We have our own Trello board with projects on. And so we treat Leap Zone like, and you're right, we've always done that, like a client that is highly paying us high dollars, because it's so easy to put the importance on everybody else and then never have time for yourself as a person for self-care, but also yourself as a business.
Yeah.
And we are constantly 10 years ahead of our business plan as a result of treating ourselves like $1 million client.
And that's the advice that I shared when I was interviewed and it came right from the two of you, because it has always stuck with me. The advice that you share on treat yourself like you would $1 million client. You wouldn't ignore their needs. You wouldn't ignore their work plan. It would be a priority. So I love that advice because it's resonated with me.
Nice. That's
cool.
Good.
So you're based in BC and you work with clients from all over the world. What are some of the benefits of being based in BC?
First of all, BC is a beautiful destination area. Destination. What's the word I'm looking for? Destination place? I don't know. Maybe
destination
places.
Period.
Destination. Yes. And so we didn't even know that Nanoose Bay existed within BC. That was a little place. But BC, first of all, for the amazing weather, the amazing, you can have mountains, you can have ocean. She loves trees and mountains. I love ocean. And together, BC is the best place. And we've traveled all over the world. We have loved and fallen in love with many places on this planet, but we're always thrilled to come back home. And, just the island in particular as well. We just came back from Vancouver for a book launch, and just beautiful. I just love Vancouver. Is honestly one of my favorite cities on earth. And it smells good. It's fresh. It's clean. It's a very clean province. I'm sure there are areas that are less clean than others. But overall, when you compare provinces, it's a beautiful province that brings so many different eclectic, different from sports to culture to obviously we come from Montreal. So the culture in Montreal, when I say culture in BC, it's a different kind of culture.
It's more outdoor culture in BC. Yeah. Everybody has outdoor activities. And that's funny you mentioned Montreal, because I was going to bring that up too, is this is something we didn't even think about when we came from Quebec to BC. But being from Quebec, like every province kind of has their
X factor.
Yeah, like
Okay.
it kind of has their differentiation, their specialty. There, you can tell when someone's from, there or here or here. And so we actually were able to bring Quebec to BC. And what that means is, as a creative company in the beginning, our style was different than most people.
Very bold.
Our approach, very bold, very direct. French people are very direct. And so we didn't realize that was actually going to benefit us and make us stand out a little more because it was different. Just different.
Yeah.
So what are the challenges? Are there challenges of being based in BC?
Yes. The challenge of, BC is definitely a more laid back, coming from Montreal and Quebec.
There's BC and then there's Vancouver Island.
Yes.
When I work with suppliers on the island, I always say at the very beginning, and island time is not a phrase I want to hear in our working relationship. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't value taking time. We do take time and we do have fun and we do explore. And I don't think that should be an excuse for not delivering what you've promised to deliver. So that to me is something that I've had to somewhat get used to, but I don't want to lower my my accountability and my responsibility quotient as a result of other people's inability to deliver. But a good middle between not too crazy, not too up there, and not too non-delivery, because we live on an island and who knows. Like there are restaurants on the island that they're open whenever. It's just hey, if you come and we're open, come on in. So that's a bit of a challenge. Than that, I mean, honestly, the weather is the best weather in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I feel I find
it being more laid back has actually also benefited us a lot.
Yes,
it's really slowed our roll, which was a good thing. Like it gave us, I think it really contributed to us achieving balance in our life.
Yeah,
being couplepreneur.
Totally. There's always two sides to any medal.
That's true. So you're based in a rural area. I'm based in a rural area. We're not in downtown Vancouver. So what advice would you give to somebody who's looking to start up as an entrepreneur in a rural area, how they make those connections, how they grow their business? Because it's much different than when you're in Vancouver.
Yes. And at the same time, I know people that are in downtown core Vancouver and they stay behind their computer and they don't really network and they don't put themselves out there. So from the same token, this could also be the case from a city. However, you're right, connection, being a part of some groups, and great, like we created our own women's group called Rise. So either you create your own group or you partake in different groups. And, something like doing a podcast. We're starting our own podcast. And it's been on the back burner for many, many years. And now we're finally doing it. But, finding ways to really connect. Educational-based marketing is a way to market yourself that is helpful, that is, of service. And we like to be of service. So, we've created 78 Leap TV episodes and we've got different tutorials and we put those front and center on social media. When I speak somewhere, speaking is a great way of getting out there, networking, chamber of commerce, creating your own group.
I think it's really about getting out there. It doesn't matter where you live or who you are. Getting out there and making connections are what create a flow, basically.
And because we're rural, it's not like, you would be on our street, you wouldn't even see our property because it's up a mountain, up a hill, right? So you're right, Cynthia, it is different. If you have a store in the middle of downtown Vancouver and people can actually access your store via the street, obviously you would market yourself a bit differently. But there's lots of ways to stay connected. I think that's what's important, staying connected. And COVID taught us that very well.
Well, and I think
staying connected is important.
Staying connected, it taught us. It also taught, in particular, retail companies to
Diversify.
Diversify and not only rely on people walking across, on the sidewalk, but actually getting online, selling their products another way.
Yeah.
It's evolution.
Totally.
So speaking of evolution, where do you see your business in 5 years?
Well, in 5 years, we do see our business being, obviously we're not on the ramp and up. We are in the, kind of starting to slow down. We're not slowing down just yet, but 5 years, we're going to want to be in a place in our business where we can absolutely pick and choose, or we can already do this, but further pick and choose exactly what products we're going to, in 5 years, we're not going to have more products. We're going to have less products that we offer. And we're going to want to get involved with more things online. So although we have a retreat center, and so we're going to want to continue inviting people to work on their business with us at Trailblazers. And I would like to leverage my online community and the online opportunities for teaching, being of service, and generating revenue and helping others generate better revenue through online. But we had a whole vision at some point to have our own island called Trailblazers Island, and that might still happen. It's a bigger vision that would require a lot of our time, which means that we would need to slow this machine down in order to. But we had a vision of having our own island for entrepreneurs, that they would come and spend a couple of months actually with us on the island to brand themselves
like
and launch like a boot camp that just sets them all up for success, not just the first quarter of it, but the totality of it. So anyways,
love that idea. Now, I know you two have routines that can you share any of your routines that you have that help you get set for the day or set for success?
Yes. I think a big one for both of us is we have our individual morning time to enter our day. And you can.
Yeah. So, I wake up much earlier than her. So 5-ish, 4:30-ish sometimes, and I meditate for a whole hour in silence. So I will just, have my own time with my own people in my head and my guides, my spiritual guides. And I have some really good pondering time. I think that as human beings, we don't take enough pondering time. And so that's my meditation pondering time. And then Margarita has her own, she also has a night ritual before going to bed.
Yeah. I have a process that I go through every morning and every night. And then in between, if I'm challenged by something or need to process something, I will go to the horses and I will spend time with them. And they really, first of all, they're amazing at helping to ground you when you feel flustered, right? And then they just really help me get clear on stuff.
And then, of course, we have, a ritual that is, prepping your week. I prep my week religiously. I prep every day. And my calendar is very organized and structured because we believe that in structure comes freedom. Most artists think, oh, no, I want to keep my life free as possible. Well, structure allows for freedom.
Well, we even talk a little bit about that in our TED Talk, because we talk about planning our spontaneous time, which sounds, yeah. I mean, it doesn't sound like it should have
intuitive.
Yes, but it actually makes it that we have spontaneous time all the time.
Just leaving it to let's be spontaneous, it just never happens. But so what we do is we plan a time to be spontaneous. We don't plan in advance what we're going to do. Yeah. We plan a time so that it happens, right? So same thing for my week. I've got creative blocks in my week. I've got meeting blocks in my week. And it's designed per my flow, per my rhythm as much as possible. Of course, I have to be flexible, and I'm flexible and helpful with our prospects and clients, but I know what I need in my day in order to be at my optimal efficiency. And so I plan according to that. And Margaret and I have very, very different rhythms, very different times of optimal efficiency. And so we've had to separate the way we work from who we are, because it was a source of frustration on both ends.
Well, and it affects we're both creative people, and everybody's a creative person, but it really affects our ability to be creative when one feels pressured to be functioning like the other.
Right.
That is an excellent point. So how do you celebrate your successes? Because a lot of times we just keep plowing on. How do you stop and savor?
We have a variety of different ways, right? Sometimes it's like we did it last night.
Yep.
We just spontaneously went for a beautiful walk by the ocean. And then we went for dinner in a different order, but we went for dinner and we toasted. We had 2-3 things to toast for. So it's about celebrating the littlest of things continually that actually makes a big difference. Sometimes we will go to a spa or a massage or something a little bit more that takes a little bit more planning, but it's in the little day-to-day high five moment.
Yeah. We've had like paddock parties with the horses where we all just like, we'll bring carrots and just have just in gratitude for what is, right? For what we have here, so who we get to work with.
We also have date nights.
We have date
nights.
Right?
We have date nights where once a week, it's an evening, usually on Tuesdays, unless something major changes that, but usually Tuesdays. And, as of 5:00, we are on to a completely different, we'll go paddle boarding. I have a motorcycle. We'll go motorcycling. We'll go again. We're big walkers. We just love walking by the ocean. So, but the point is we wouldn't plan anything work-wise or anything on date night. So, and it's special. It's just it doesn't have to cost a lot at all. It's in the little simple things that we find a lot of joy right now in our life.
I love that. Now, on the opposite side, how are you dealing with fear or doubt that might creep in?
First of all, we have a coach, and we have a couple of different types of coaches. I have a speaking coach, and I have a personnel, like a presence, leadership presence coach, and we have a business coach together, and we're coached together and separately, which I think is a key. And we've been coached for literally almost as long as we've been in business. I think a couple of years we weren't coached. One of them, we had sold our business and we were traveling the world. We were just on our own, and
it was a good excuse.
It was a good excuse. I think for us, when I'm in fear and in lack or in the dark, we tend to not be in the dark at the same time. Now, it does happen that we're in the dark at the same time, and that's definitely harder. Thank God we have other people to help us. But usually one of us is in the light when one of us is in the dark, and we're able to help each other come through that. But sometimes, I just went through something ridiculously difficult. I thought this instant was going to take me out of this planet, and you tried and helped, and there's nothing that was helping me, except that it was helping me in a sense that I felt supported. I felt that she was there with me. I wasn't alone, but I was too deep in my.
But what happens, and I don't know if this is because we're a couplepreneur or if partnerships deal with it this way as well, is when she's talking personally, I was trying to help her, but with the business, when one of us is not shining, the other one steps forward to deal with things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting how we have this very
protective yet
and unspoken, though it just happens. And like, if there's a big thing happening with the business that one of us can't handle, the other one just jumps in and deals with it.
Even if it wouldn't, like, I know what you're referring to right now, the most recent one. And it would not have normally been her dealing. It would have been my dealing, but I had no brain cells to actually do that dealing. And so you stepped in like nobody's business and just took care of it. And it was just fantastic. But
So
Yeah.
powerful. And one of the things that you said that I really like is because you're coaches, you're both coaches, and that even those of us who are coaches still need coaching.
Oh yeah.
Well, I always say, if you're in the pickle jar, you can't see the calorie label. It doesn't matter how, but it's the truth, right? So we could be the best, most masterful coaches. When you're in it, of course, we have ways to help myself. Like as a coach, of course, I have ways to help myself get out of difficult situations and difficult mindsets. But that doesn't make us, capable of dealing with our own shit all the time, right? So no, we are coached together and separately, thank God. And this is something, when sometimes I hear people say, yeah, I had a coach for a couple of years, and then I figured out what needed to be done. And I'm like, wow, the fact that you're saying that to me is troublesome right off the bat. Like I could have a whole podcast episode just on that saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just this way, having a coach helps us, and I'll close on that subject, but helps us be better humans and be better leaders continually, no matter what is happening in our lives and in our business. And that is not a situational thing. That is a everyday journey.
Absolutely. I find with coaches that they shine lights on areas you might not know or might not want to look at.
Right.
That's right.
So, and they're not your friend. So they're not going to sugarcoat it. They're going to help you.
Oh, and they'll push buttons if they need pushing.
That's right.
Absolutely. So if you weren't doing what you're doing today, what could you see? An alternative career or alternative?
If I had a voice, I would be a singer. Like I would love to be able to express what I want to say, how I want to say it in song. You probably be a makeup artist somewhere on a set this is where we met. We met in school, theater, movies, special effects, props, makeup, and we met in the film industry, moved to BC for the film industry, ended up hating the logistics and the unionized blah, blah, blah. Doing the makeup is we have a really good friend that's a very well-known makeup artist, and it is challenging world to work with stars and the movie industry,
Yeah.
So, but you'd probably be in something a bit more physically made or crafted or created.
Yeah. I would definitely, it would be less desk, more like I would be either a makeup artist or working on a ranch, like out there but out there as opposed to, and it's weird.
And the weird thing is she's got the ranch to work out there.
I do, but it's not all I do.
Correct.
It's very different. It's a thing. It's a piece that I juggle with all the other pieces.
That's right.
So as we get close to wrapping up, is there any pieces of advice or nuggets that you'd want to share with our listeners?
I think that, in our TED Talk, we talk about boundaries. And my mom said something to me very early in life. And she said, Isabelle, if you can't say no to what you don't want, you'll never have the time and the energy for what you do want. And saying no is often seen as a taboo thing, and it's important. It's important to have boundaries in your relationships, in your day-to-day lives, in your work, even in how you work. When we work with clients, be it in a rebrand situation or a coaching or a strategy here at Trailblazers, we educate them as to how we work. And most often they end up adopting how we work because we know what makes us at our best and what keeps us at our best. And we don't have problems, or we're not shy about sharing those ways and principles and methodologies because we know it makes life better for everyone, including us, right? So not being shy to be, See, in your business and in your business, whomever is listening to this, nobody is like you in your business. And the only way to be truly different is for you to be truly you in that equation. And therein lies the journey of life, right? Learning to be more ourselves in any situation. And I have many tattoos, but one of them says, happiness is when what I think, say, and do are in harmony. And that is my journey every single day. When I've had a good day, a great day that I'm proud of, what I thought, what I did, and what I said were in harmony. I can guarantee you that.
That's great advice. Margarita, any advice from you?
Yes. Trust your instinct. Just trust it. It is way more accurate than your brain.
Than your logical brain. You're right.
It is. Your instinct should be the first thing. It is the first thing that kicks in. So listen to it and then let your brain figure out the logistics. But listen to your gut.
Is that coming from the horses as well?
Yes, for sure. Every day.
Exactly.
Well, this time I've been in trouble, I have not listened to my gut.
Yeah.
I should have listened to my gut. When hindsight, I go, I knew that, Anyway.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, how can our listeners get a hold of you?
Our website is a goldmine of free tools and strategies and all that good stuff, goodies. LeapZoneStrategies.com. Both of our TED Talks are on that site as well, along with free tutorials of how we use email triage, how we use our calendar, how we set ourselves up to win versus not to lose. So LeapZoneStrategies.com, and of course on social media, LeapZone Strategies.
Well, thank you. This has been and I love that we're talking about couplepreneurs because it is a completely different journey than when it's just you at the lead. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Anytime.